Alright guys, today we're going to be doing anesthesia machine check. First we want to start off with our pipeline, making sure it's 50 psi. And next you want to make sure that your E-cylinders are 1000 psi on the oxygen. And crack them open, crack them closed. Make sure nitrous oxide is 745 psi. Next we're going to check our vaporizers. We're going to make sure that they're all filled to the appropriate level, that all the caps are on appropriately, tight. You want to check all the vaporizers with a manometer, introducing it to the common gas outlet. You want to crack each vaporizer open, and you want to make sure that the manometer stays deflated 10 seconds. So you also want to take this time to check your interlock mechanism. If one vaporizer is open, the next one should not be able to be open. That's the interlock mechanism. Next, I'm going to turn on your machine. I like to take this time to check my tubing. Make sure I have a gas sampling line, that my corrugated tubing doesn't have any kind of kinks, any kind of holes. And then I also want to check my monitoring system, my ECG leads, have my SpO2, my blood pressure cuff. Then I also want to take a look at my monitor, make sure that I have all of my parameters set for my monitoring. Next, I want to check my Thorpe tubes from left to right. Left is air, middle is nitrous oxide, and on the right is oxygen. The nitrous oxide and the oxygen work on a link 25 proportioning system. Essentially prevents a hypoxic mixture from being administered, and so if you bring the nitrous oxide up, it'll bring the oxygen up, and if you bring the oxygen down, it'll bring the nitrous oxide down as well, ensuring that we don't give a hypoxic mixture. Next, we want to go ahead and test our scavenger system. We want to make sure that, and our CO2 absorbent. So you want to make sure that it's not purple, because purple means that it's exhausted. If there's any doubts about it being left over the weekend, overnight, high gas flows, it could dry it out. That's a fire hazard, and a higher risk also of carbon monoxide and compound A with certain anesthetics. So next, we're going to check the scavenger system, and we're also going to check the oxygen analyzer. So the oxygen analyzer, you go ahead and follow the prompt on the ventilator, but you're pretty much exposing the fuel cell to room air. You let it calibrate, you put this back in, you put the module back in, you make sure you latch it back, and then you flush the system and you calibrate it to 100%. So this is the only way of ensuring we don't deliver pipeline crossover, possible pipeline crossover. Next is the scavenger system. You want to make sure the vacuum is between 10 to 20 liters per minute. Bag should be partially deflated. You want to look at your pressures on here. Just going to put some basic settings just so I can see my pressures. You want to make sure that it stays under 10 centimeters of water when I'm flushing it. So I'm going to be flushing it, I'm going to be occluding the white piece, and I want to make sure my APL valve is open. And I should see the pressure staying under 10. I should see the bag inflating and passively deflating, which it is. So that's good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and check my high pressure test. I'm going to go ahead and keep the white piece occluded. I'm going to close my APL valve to 70, which means it's closed. I'm going to flush my system to 30, and I want to make sure that it holds the pressure for at least 10 seconds. And it's effectively holding it for 10 seconds. If I flush it again, I'll get a high pressure alarm, which I want to ensure that I have a high pressure alarm. Next is I'm going to let it passively deflate. I'm going to open up the APL valve. Here we see the pressures dropping. my reservoir bag is decreasing, and the scavenger bag is inflating and passively deflating. So that's good. Next, we're gonna attach our artificial lung. We're gonna switch it to mechanical ventilation. I'm gonna take a look at my bellows, and I wanna make sure my bellows is all the way up. I'm gonna flush it. So the bellows is inflated. There's no holes in it. It's moving up and down. And I'm gonna take this moment to take a look at my unidirectional valves, make sure that they're opening and closing. Okay, that's appropriate. So next, I'm gonna check my mechanical ventilator. Next, I'm gonna switch it over to bag. And I'm gonna go ahead and inflate my lung. I'm gonna take a look at my tidal volumes, making sure, I'm gonna make sure that I'm at 20 to 30 on my APL valve. I'm gonna make sure I'm between 20 to 30, then I'm getting good tidal volumes, my lung is inflating. Again, take a look at my unidirectional valves, and that's appropriate. Great, so we always, once we're done with our test, we're gonna put it at minimum, we're gonna leave it on bag ventilation. We're gonna go ahead and make sure we have our mask. And we're gonna take one last safety check, making sure we have our ambu bag that has a good seal, making sure we have suction, that it's working appropriately, and make sure that we have our auxiliary oxygen, just in the event that we were to need it. We're gonna make sure that we have our parameters, again, one more time, that we're set. And we're gonna make sure that we have all of our equipment between leads, SpO2, blood pressure cuff, and sampling line for capnography. And that's essentially it. We should make sure that all our ventilator settings are appropriate for the patient that we're gonna get and the type of procedure that we're gonna do. Wanna always make sure we document our machine check, and we're ready to do anesthesia.